guarantees for lines of credit. And we were approached at the subcommittee to do the same. The original amount was $75,000. We met with CFO Tom Byrne, and we reviewed whether it would just make more sense for us to just do another year of forbearance, the full 75, doing 50 on the guarantee, and then after Tom left, the subcommittee had a further discussion, and the thought that we had was that we would do forbearance for 6 months. So that would mean that those payments at $5,200 a month wouldn't be made. And then at the same, we would offer a $25,000 line of credit guarantee with findings that we've attached to your documents. And again, we think that this shows your investors that we're in. We continue to be in, we continue to be supportive, but it's not additional money, and it's less than what the loan payment would be. So what we were concerned about is a perception from the public that we were loaning money to G-Force to make the loan payments back to us, and that's just simply not the case. Plus, we provided for that in the findings as well.
If we could just go back to the subcommittee for a second. Jeff wasn't there. Steve and Sam, Brad and I were there. Brad, do you want to sum up our discussion at all and where we came out with this?
I think Steve did a good job
Okay.
of pulling it all together, and I think that's as simple as it gets.
Well, I do want to say for the record that G-Force went into forbearance, into default, failed to make payment, and we have requested a exit plan for forbearance. And during those discussions, we received the request for a line of credit. So it wasn't simply, we didn't simply get a request for a line of credit. This all has to do with the technicalities of forbearance, which in part influenced our decision to continue to a certain degree with forbearance to maintain a tighter relationship with the company and the financial reports. And then we after discussing among ourselves came to the conclusion that we could guarantee no more than $25,000, and those $5,200 payments would come close to making it a $50,000 cash flow opportunity. So we voted, the subcommittee then recommended to bring this plan, not these findings, but this basic plan both to G-Force and to the full EDA. So the first thing that we want to agree to is 6 months forbearance, and subsequent to that is the guarantee and the findings. So how should we proceed with that? Should we, as an EDA, discuss the forbearance and vote on that? Because they are linked, but they're quite separate.
Yeah, well, the thing is that since the loan status is currently defaulted, in order to be eligible for an additional assistance, it'd have to be in forbearance. So you want to talk about forbearance first.
Correct. Thank you. Any questions about the EDA recommends 6 months forbearance? The subcommittee. It recommends to the EDA, which will then recommend to the City Council to extend forbearance.
Terms of which to be determined.
Yeah, we're sort of waiting for a couple of items that Steve will get to in the findings.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, since we don't have a forbearance plan, we did receive a projection.
Which was good.
And so what we've asked Tom to do is to go back and tweak that, and then we'll ask him to make that the basis of the forbearance exit plan. And then what's going to need to happen is that's going to need to come back to the EDA. What we're asking, the discussion we had today is we're asking the EDA to allow the subcommittee to meet with Tom or whoever on the 16th, either before or after the joint meeting, to go over the exit plan. So we want to see the plan on Friday, so we got some time to tweak it, especially on Monday. And then Tuesday, we would see that plan. And then if the subcommittee thinks that the exit plan strategy is good, they will then recommend it to the council, and we can take it to the council the next Monday. So if everyone's in agreement, that's how that part would play out.
And in lieu of the actual exit plan, this, after, you know, some back and forth, Mr. Byrne gave us a very, very good projection, you know, running out month after month after month, showed exactly what a good exit plan for forbearance should show. It shows when you are generating enough revenue and your expenses are down so that you can begin making payments. So we're asking as soon as you can, but certainly no later than the week of the 16th, to get us that revised exit plan for forbearance. I guess tonight all we need to know is we need to sort of have approval from the EDA to do as what Steve described, that the subcommittee could meet the night of that joint planning meeting and just look at those numbers and say, this will do.
Do we need a formal motion and approval, or just
Yes.
well, I would move that we take that course and get the document hopefully Friday and proceed with our Tuesday meeting, subcommittee, and we'll have more formal documentation to the full EDA to act on.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion of that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any opposed? Okay, that passes. So the second thing then is the loan guarantee.
Can we go back for just 1 second?
Yeah.
Then? How would you want that motion to be worded? That we
That the subcommittee will, that this approval is pending the subsequent,
Okay.
Subcommittee.
is contingent upon the subcommittee review.
Of a complete forbearance.
Exit plan for
Request.
forbearance.
Okay.
Yep.
Not just the exit plan, but the whole forbearance request.
But assuming that forbearance request is then accepted, forbearance is
Gotcha.
our recommendation to the council at
Right.
their next meeting is to approve.
Right.
Forbearance for 6 months. So the second part then is the loan guarantee.
Right, the loan guarantee, and this is where a line of credit would be established for the amount of $25,000 with Cooley Bank. The city would deposit $25,000 in the CD, and then those funds would be available to G-Force to draw off under these conditions and under these findings to assist you in ramp-up operations. So do you want me to run through the findings?
Please.
Okay, I'm not gonna read it verbatim, because I think we all know how to read. But basically, the first finding, again, talks about the renewal of forbearance for 6 months. And then it talks about the updates that will be required on a monthly basis. And again, these findings were reviewed with Tom, and they were also reviewed with the bank, with Matt from the bank. And so basically what we're looking at is that table that we got right there to be finalized and updated as of the end of the month. So we're saying, you guys are putting your stamp of approval and saying, this is how we think the next 6 months are gonna go. And then, so that you would have your projection line, and then the next one would be blank, and that's where every month you'll roll up and do the actuals. So we can see your actuals versus what you were projected, so we can see the trajectory of your projection going forward. The other issues that we were looking at, the number of online stores that you've created and how many are operational, number of paid advertisers in the ad spaces on the stores, and then the number of manufacturers that are housing their goods in the warehouse space. Those are all the components we think that really show that you guys are making the progress.
Right.